I'm a P.E.O. in Chapter KK, Missouri. And I serve as the Director of Leadership Development at Cottey College through the Serenbetz Institute for Women's Leadership, Social Responsibility, and Global Awareness. We have several initiatives in place through the Serenbetz Institute that supports leadership development for our students, and that includes the Leadership Experiences and Opportunities Certification Program, granting opportunities for students to travel for leadership emergence or research, and in addition, credit-bearing classes that lead to a certificate in organizational leadership or a baccalaureate degree in organizational leadership. I have the privilege of working with some amazing students who really care about becoming a better leader. I get to share 3 of those students with you today. So over the next 30 minutes, you will hear from 3 of our students as they share their incredible stories about women's leadership, social responsibility, and global awareness. We will begin by each student making brief introductory remarks, and then if time allows, we'll open it up to audience questions. So as you hear them speak, you might consider thinking of questions you might want to ask. So let's see, I know I need to do this. Miranda Owens is our first panelist this morning. Miranda is a 3rd-year student majoring in psychology. Born in England, Miranda moved to France at the age of 6. You might wonder how Miranda came to Cottey. Miranda's mother, Belinda Ann Priscilla Mullenix, is a Cottey graduate from the class of 1978. Miranda, why don't you tell us a bit about your journey to Cottey and your experiences so far?
Awesome. Okay, hello everyone. So even though I am a legacy and my mom is a Cottey graduate, I actually didn't hear much about Cottey growing up. It wasn't until I started asking my mom questions about college that I actually started hearing about this magical place called Cottey College. And let me tell you that at 12 years old, I was hooked. The main reason why, because I was so fascinated about the communities that my mom had built whilst being here. She's actually still in contact with some of her seniors to this day, but also how much Cottey emphasized women's empowerment. I registered pretty late for Cottey, and on a bright day of February of my senior year, I got the golden ticket. I was going to Cottey. I was overjoyed and very excited about the new adventures that were awaiting me. Before I could even realize, I had taken most of my dreaded end of high school year diploma, finished working my job for the summer, and I was starting to pack. Now, that was a challenge. What do you pack for college, especially a college in a foreign country that you had never been to before? I ended up packing the bare essentials and thankfully being able to close my suitcase. Making the trip from Brittany, France to Nevada, Missouri was quite a journey. The first step was taking a bus to a larger city, and then the bus to Paris, which was 8 hours long, then fly to Sweden, and then Chicago, and then to take a bus to St. Louis, and then to Kansas City, and finally, a driver came and picked me up and took me to Cottey. This was a real adventure. How long did it take in total? 48 hours. It seemed like the traveling would never end. And in that car ride to Cottey, the only thing on my mind was seeing the sign saying Cottey College. When I arrived, I remember being struck by how big Nevada and the campus were. My town in Brittany was only 3,000 people. As a comparison, here in Nevada, we have about 10,000 people. We parked in the Circle Drive, and the driver helped me carry my belongings into Robinson Hall. I was so overwhelmed by all the traveling, the new sounds, smells, food, the heat. Amidst of all of this, we ran into Brittany Lear, one of my seniors. I was so lost when she asked me which suite I needed to go to. I said, Wisconsin. She started mildly screeching. I was very confused, but then she said that she had been waiting for me for days. And that is how I met one of my dear seniors, Brittany. Brittany took me up to Wisconsin Suite, and since I had arrived a couple days late, everyone was already in there, already settled in. All of a sudden, Rowan Cotter, another one of my dear seniors, asked if I was the person from France. I had just the time to say yes that they offered me a hug. That is how I met my other dear senior, Rowan. In not even 5 minutes of arriving here, I had found my community, and I am so grateful to Cottey to have offered me that. Having this strong of a community is truly something very unique to Cottey. Throughout my years here, and still today with this panel and this speech, Cottey has provided me with opportunities to grow and develop as a leader. My professors challenged me to go further, dig deeper, and get out of my comfort zone. My dance peers, and especially my dance teacher, Professor Joe Burns, showed me what dedication and passion really looked like. I wasn't very confident in my dance abilities coming in, but by being given different opportunities, they helped me to see that I can and should be confident. By doing so, I found myself loving improvisation even more than I had before. I was even given the opportunity to improvise twice by myself during the dance company concerts. I remember dreading each time before, being on cloud 9 during, and wishing I could continue on when it was over. I used to be very reliant on structure, but these experiences in dance taught me that complete structure is merely just a concept, and sometimes in life, you've got to just improvise. I'm very excited to see what the next 2 years bring for me. I feel like being here, being challenged as a leader, and my community has helped me become more who I wish to be.
Thank you, Miranda. I know that Professor Joe Burns has given you opportunities to choreograph your own pieces. Could you tell the audience a little bit about what goes into that process?
Of course. So choreographing a piece is really challenging, something that I only really got to try out here. I was used to choreographing on myself, using improvisation when needed. Taking that vision onto someone else is extremely different because we all approach movement differently. How I ended up approaching it was just letting the dancer move how they normally would with a given movement. I wanted to make sure that both of my choreographies had a little bit of the dancer's personality and touch to make it both more enjoyable for them, but also for the public. Actually coming up with the movement was very difficult for me too. I spent countless nights in the dance studio trying to come up with movement. This was hard because I knew that whatever I came up with, once I put it onto my dancers, the choreography would look very different than what I would have imagined. Letting go of that desire to make my choreography look perfect was really something that I worked on a lot because it was hindering my creativity, but also giving me a lot of unnecessary stress. Once I got over that hurdle several times, it made the process much more enjoyable for me and for my dancers. And then finally, seeing it all done and all on stage changes everything. Everything comes into place and finally makes sense.
Thank you, Miranda. Our next panelist, Darlina Rose, is a fourth-year student studying organizational leadership. In her 4 years at Cottey, Darlina has been an active participant, eager learner, and major contributor. I've had the privilege of working with Darlina for the last 4 years in the Leadership Experiences Opportunity Program, known as LEO, where she completed all 4 levels of the program and now serves as a Leo luminary, mentoring other Leo students. Darlina, please share with us a little bit about your story.
My journey to discover myself and grow as a leader began as a child and has been developed farther in my experiences at Cottey. I grew up with my single mother and her 4 other children. At the end of 4th grade, my family was evicted from our apartment. We spent the next 2 years homeless as we struggled to find a place that was big enough for our family and would rent to somebody with an eviction. The experience wasn't easy, but it made me more resilient. I told myself that I was going to work hard in school and go to college so that I could get a career that would support me and my family. I never wanted to be homeless again. I made it my goal to do whatever I could to make it to college and graduate with a bachelor's degree. From this experience, I learned the value of hard work, positivity, and perseverance. While this experience shaped me and my future, my experiences at Cottey have continued to help shape my incredible future. My first Cottey experience came during the summer workshop during my junior year of high school. During the workshop, I attended a session about social justice. At the time, I didn't really know much about social justice, but after the class, I discovered that I had a strong interest in it and helping others. After the session, everyone from the workshop was brought back together, and some of the counselors asked us if anyone would like to share what they had just learned at the session. I was typically a quiet and shy person, but my hand shot up because I felt empowered to share what I had learned. That moment was so impactful that I knew that if I came to Cottey, I would learn to use my voice. Now that I am in my 4th year, I can tell you now, without a doubt, that I have a voice and that I can use it to share my truth and inspire others. Through my leadership studies, I've gained confidence in myself. My 2nd year as my Leo Presidential Leadership Service Project, I created the Imagine, Believe, Achieve 5K, working with volunteers from the cross-country and track team, along with other campus volunteers. In that first year, our 5K raised more than $500 for a local organization that supports homeless individuals in the community. Last spring, I'm pleased to say that the Imagine, Believe, Achieve 5K took place for our 2nd year. Working with organizations in Nevada, I created the Prosper Fund, which delegates the funds raised from the 5K to fill a need in the community that will help others to prosper. I used to have a lot of limiting beliefs about myself. Cottey has given me the tools and resources to develop my skills and the confidence to believe I can, and already do, make a difference.
Darlina, you are certainly an impressive young woman who has already done so much to make a difference in the community. Could you tell us a little bit about your plans post-graduation next spring?
It's coming up soon. My goal is to eventually start a nonprofit that would be about community development. Right before my family became homeless, we lived in the Free Valley neighborhood in Vancouver, Washington. It had a strong sense of community where the elementary school served as a hub of resources that helped families, especially my family, during a hard time. My experience with Free Valley planted a seed about the importance of community on someone's well-being. Then I came to Cottey and had the opportunity to learn about Healthy Nevada, which is a nonprofit in this community that develops that works with community development to generate possibilities and improve health. This academic year, I am interning with Healthy Nevada to continue to learn about community development. It's interesting because I used to be ashamed of my past homeless experience. I didn't share or talk about it with anyone. I made it my goal to do everything I could to avoid having that experience ever again. I recently realized that I need to embrace that experience and own my story, and use it to help improve the lives of others and make a difference. It's like that saying, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I'm taking a sour experience and using it to create my incredible future. I will continue to learn and grow. I'm not quite ready to create a nonprofit right after graduation. So I plan to build on my leadership skills that I've learned at Cottey by working at other nonprofits or social responsible businesses. I currently don't have anything lined up yet, but I'm confident that I will find the right place for me.
Thank you, Darlina. Our next panelist, Yustinah Ndambakuwa, is a third-year student from Zimbabwe. Yustinah is studying biology with an interest in women's studies and women's health. I believe Yustinah is a student that exemplifies Cottey's thread of global awareness. Yustinah, will you please tell our audience about the opportunities you've had to develop as a global citizen?
Today's world is getting more globally connected, and most of the world's problems are requiring global conversations to reach global solutions. The media does not cover all these issues, and sometimes being part of the people undergoing the problem is the only way we can understand the solutions. Cottey College has been a place that activates globally aware citizens, and I am privileged to be part of such an amazing school which has a system that promotes global awareness. I believe if we have global citizens, global solutions will be found for global problems. Not only have I benefited from Cottey's mission of increasing global awareness, but I recall countless times when I have had to share my own Zimbabwean culture with P.E.Os during my Golden Key tours. They have loved asking me questions and getting to hear the information they didn't know. In April, I hosted a prospective student during See for Yourself, and she shared with me that if I had not visited Cottey, I would not have known all that she told me about Zimbabwe. Cottey is such a small school, but it is very diverse, and that's why I'm strongly interested in coming. And right now she's a freshman. 15 years ago in first grade, I never thought my dream of visiting the Taj Mahal would be made possible. But thanks to Cottey's international travel opportunity for second-year students during spring break, I visited the Taj in spring 2018. One of the moments that impacted me were moments spent with individuals from all over the world at Cottey. Before March 2018, I'd only been accustomed to the African and American cultures, but on the trip to India and Sri Lanka, now I can add on to say I'm also aware of the South Asian culture. The diversity within the students and faculty is amazing, and also a great way for students to be globally aware. On my spring break trip, going with the faculty that is from the two countries was so much helpful because they clarified a lot of things. In February, I also had the privilege to be amongst individuals who are passionate about improving global health. Traveling with Cottey chemistry professors Dr. Fernando and Dr. Ross, along with other Cottey students, I attended the Global Health Conference at Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska. At this conference, I met a lot of diverse people, striving to tackle global issues in all continents of the world. As a biology major, pre-dentistry track, this got me connected to some of the organizations which have the same passion as me. In April, I was very grateful that the Serenbetz Institute funded me to attend the DREPA Women's Entrepreneurship Competition at Smith College. I was part of the 60 semi-finalists, which were selected out of approximately 600 applicants. If it was not for the help I received from Cottey, I would not have been able to know about the various innovations I learned at this conference. Over the summer, I attended Oxfam Change Leaders Training as one of the national leaders selected by Oxfam America. Looking back, these ordinary portions and moments have been extraordinary as they added to my global citizenship knowledge. I'm grateful to Cottey College, which believed in me by giving me a place at this incredible college, the faculty and staff who continue to light the spark in me, and the P.E.Os whose support makes Cottey as a whole flourish beyond anyone's expectations.
Yustinah, you mentioned you were selected as an Oxfam Change Leader and attended special training this summer. Tell us what you hope to accomplish this year as an Oxfam Change Maker on Cottey's campus.
So Oxfam America is an organization that aims to tackle injustice in the world and also poverty. So what I learned is that poverty is man-made, and we can try by all means to eradicate it. So the knowledge that I gained from the training, I hope to bring it on campus and encourage us women at Cottey College to be advocates for social justice. And also, this past weekend, I had the privilege to go to New Orleans for the National Summit of Social Determinants of Health. And some of the things I learned there, like education and policies, can be great determinants of someone's health. So since I'm passionate about global health and also social justice, and as an Oxfam Change leader, I plan to educate people here at college and share what's going on around the world so that people will be activists and also advocate for people who are experiencing injustices and poverty around the world.
Impressive young women at Cottey College. We have just a few minutes before we need to wrap up and head out on campus tours. So I'd like to give you all an opportunity to ask. I have 2 minutes? Oh, I can take 2 questions. Okay. 2 questions from the audience. Does anyone have a question you would like to address to one of our panelists, or a question open to any one of them?
Yes. My question to all 3 of you is, what would you do if you could improve Cottey?
Miranda, the microphone.
I think, at least for me, coming from France, we actually, with Cottey, we do have a liaison with the Légion d'honneur, which is in Paris. So they always send Cottey 2 students every single year. I didn't come from that. I came by myself with the opportunity with my mum. So I think how I would improve Cottey, at least for me, would be I would take all the great things about Cottey, bring it back to my country, and try and recruit even more people and let them know that they can go to the United States and they can go to an all-women's school and they can experience everything that I have experienced, because they probably have no idea what this place is about. So that's how I would improve it.
Yes, I thought I saw a hand.
I was just wondering, I know how Miranda got here, but how the other 2 women got here, how they heard about Cottey, P.E.O, or how that was introduced to them.
Yeah, so my stepmom is actually a P.E.O. And yeah, so one day she pulled out the P.E.O record and she opened it up and started telling me about Cottey. And so at the time, I was only looking at universities in Washington State. And when she was telling me about Cottey, it didn't have a 4-year science degree at the time, which is what I was looking for. It didn't have a cross-country program, and it was so far away from home. So she was telling me about it, and I was like, well, thank you for showing me Cottey, but I don't think it's a school for me. And then she told me about the summer workshop, which I talked about in my speech. And she was like, well, I think you should go to this. Like, you don't have to commit to the school, but I think it's a leadership workshop and it'd just be a good experience for you. So I came, and you all know how that went. So, yeah, and I chose Cottey. And by the time I came, they had a cross-country program. They had a 4-year science degree. We actually have a couple now. And so, yeah.
So as for me, my sister came here first before I came here. And also my little sister is gonna come, she just got accepted, so yay! And also when I applied, I wanted an all-women's college, so I applied to about 7 all-women's colleges in the United States. And of course, in Zimbabwe at the US Education Advising Center, if you tell them you want an all-women's college, Cottey College is the first college they tell you about. So I applied to Cottey, and at the all women's colleges, and I got accepted to 4 of them, including Cottey. But of course, Cottey had the best financial aid, so that's why I really love it.
As you can imagine, I love my job. I think I have the best job in the world, probably. I get to work with these amazing young women who care about developing into women who will go out into the world and make a huge difference. I'm so glad that you were here today. You were able to meet 3 of the leadership students who work with us in our leadership program, but today you will meet even more. And I'm sorry I didn't do that. But I will hand the microphone over to Margaret, who has some announcements. Thank you all.